Hafa and good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon's public hearing will be conducted by the Committee on Finance and Government Operations, and is called to order, and the time is now 3:01 p.m. on this Thursday, January 8, 2026. First notice of this public hearing was disseminated to all senators and media outlets on December 30th, 2025, with its second notice disseminated on January 5th, 2026. These hearing notices were also made available on the Guam Legislature's website, our legislative calendar, and the Government of Guam Public Notice Portal. The committee will hear testimony on the following bills. Bill number 235-38 COR, introduced by Senator Chris M. Dueñas, an act to amend Section 8 of Chapter 1 of Public Law 38-60 relative to pre-development stage duties in the Simon A. Sanchez High School project. The other bill, Bill number 211-38 COR, introduced by Senator Shawn Gumataotao, an act to add a new section 4109G4 to Chapter 4 of Title 5 Guam Code Annotated relative to prioritizing public safety services by restricting the de-appropriation or transfer of unexpended prior fiscal year appropriations from the Guam Police Department, the Guam Fire Department, Department of Corrections, and the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agencies to the General Fund. At this time, Bill number 211-38 COR will be postponed. We will not be hearing that bill this afternoon. But we'd like to thank you all for being here this afternoon to provide testimony for it, but it was postponed. So we will only be hearing Bill number 235-38. At this time, I'd like to welcome my colleagues who will be joining us this afternoon. Senator Shawn Gumataotao, Senator Sabrina Salas-Matanani, and Senator Telo Taitigui. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone in attendance of Eulogio Guahan's General Rules of Conduct. Individuals testifying shall first be recognized by the chairperson before speaking and shall state their full name for record-keeping purposes. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the substance of the nature of the bill or nature of the agenda. Personal inference as to the character or motive of any senator or individual testifying is not permitted. The chairperson of the committee may order the removal from the hearing of any member of Eulogio Guahan or the public audience who fails to observe proper decorum pursuant to the 38th Guam Legislature's standing rules. Any violation of this general rule of conduct will result in your immediate removal. With that, we'll now proceed to hear testimony on Bill number 235-38 COR. On behalf of Chairman Dueñas, I would like to now read his opening remarks for the record. The title of this bill is direct because the issue before us is direct. This measure amends existing law to appropriate funds for the pre-development and leaseback obligations of the Simon Sanchez High School. These costs are necessary to keep the long-delayed project moving and to avoid further disruption and added expense. This is a simple fix that allows DPW and GIDA to more thoroughly authorize allowable spending for this project, removing legal uncertainty and ensuring continuity for a project that directly impacts student safety and access to education. As the chairman of Finance and Budget, this change was directly requested by the governor's fiscal team, and the chairman believes that this is a responsible action to fulfill existing commitments and keep one of Guam's most critical public schools project on track. He will carefully review all testimonies and look forward to advancing this measure responsibly. At this time, we'll go ahead and call the members who will be publicly testifying on this. From GIDA, you guys can go ahead and come forward.
Ready?
Madam President, you can go ahead and begin your testimony.
Thank you. Hafa Day, Vice Speaker Ada, Senator Shawn Gumataotao, Senator Sabrina Salas-Matanani, and our Chair, Senator Telo Taitigui. My name is Christina Garcia, GIDA CEO Administrator, and I am here to provide testimony in support of 235-38, an act to amend Section 8 of Chapter 1 of Public Law 3860 relative to pre-development stage duties in the Simon Sanchez High School project. We want to first express our appreciation of the support of the legislature in its continued efforts to build and construct the new Simon Sanchez High School. And that was with the recent appropriation of $16.4 million as part of the fiscal year 2026 Budget Act for leaseback payments. The amendment proposed in this bill further supports the government's effort to complete the school on time and on budget. By providing the funding in the current fiscal year, the government will be able to begin the pre-development task ahead of the actual project financing. Pre-development tasks may include, but is not limited to, demolition, clearing, and staging ahead of the actual school construction. I would also like to add that this will also assist in mitigating some of the increased construction costs we have seen recently. We want to say thanks in advance for your consideration and support of Bill 235-38. At this point, I'm now available to answer any questions or discuss further as needed.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia, for your testimony. I'm going to be calling up Mr. Henry Taitano, who will also be providing testimony on this legislation. Mr. Taitano, you would like to proceed?
Hafa Senator and committee. It's an honor to be here again in the legislature. My name is Henry Taitano. I'm a former GITA administrator and private citizen and supporter of Guam DOE and the public school system. So I'm just making testimony as a private citizen with some experience in this area. The testimony I have provided written copies for the committee. And basically what it is we're testifying in support of the bill, but also proposing a potential amendment, which would be a Section 3, and to add some language in the financing of section of Public Law 37-22. In that section, it does state basically that the contractor or the bidder would come to the legislature and get some approval for some financing methods. The intention of the section that we propose would add some financing options and investment options to the table so that there could be a potential for cost savings for the project as well as a variety of financing methods available. Normally, at least from what I've seen in these bills, they would generally leave the financing method up to the private developer. In the Sanchez, or I guess the multiple laws that have been passed for Simon Sanchez, it did say that there would have to be an effort by the legislature to have some approval. So the testimony I have today is one, in support of the bill, and then two is to just propose a potential addition so that these financing methods could be covered. Sorry. Can you hear me? I listed some rationale for this, but some of these methods are actually also used for a more recent school that was built, Island Charter School, for example, using the CDFI and CDE programs that the federal government has. And that's really the goal, is to provide all the different options for the developer to have in the event to get whatever the best rates are and whatever potential grants and subsidies that are out there as well. And it's really just to add a paragraph to the financing section, and that's provided in the written testimony as well.
Thank you, sir, for your testimony. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and open up the panel to my colleagues who would like to perhaps have any comments or questions of the panel. Senator Gumataotao, you're recognized, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the panel for being with us this afternoon. And if I can, and Tina, if you could, can you, I guess, what information is available confirming whether the price tag from 2023 of $166,365,000 for the design, renovation, or construction and maintenance of a new Simon Sanchez High School has adjusted, recognizing that increases, if any, will impact future legislative appropriations beginning with the fiscal year 2027 budget, if not sooner?
Thank you, Senator Gumataotao, for that question. When we first approached the legislature about this issue during Committee of the Whole and the budget hearing, we did speak to the fact that since 2023, there is clear evidence that construction costs have almost tripled in the last couple of years. And we've seen that caused by, the increased defense construction projects coming out. And so we also had the TRMA that completed the initial stage of the A&E, also confirmed that although they did include inflation costs, no one had expected that the inflation costs would have almost doubled since the time the report was released. And so that's why we had come to the legislature to help mitigate some of that construction costs, as well as to be able to start working on the project on things like clearing and demolition of the existing buildings. Understanding that with the ongoing double session, we wanted to work at trying to get the project completed as soon as possible.
So Tina, again, going back, is the price tag from 2023 still good?
So we are not asking to increase the price tag. We are just saying that in order to be able to complete the project, we would ask for this additional amount to help get this going.
All right, thank you so much for that. And I don't think you're going to be able to answer this next question, but I know you can probably do your best considering the work of Gita. But recognizing that we've seen in this hall and then next door, talk about the overall student population that continues to decline, with the school system hosting 909 students less going into the 2024-2025 year. With respect to student enrollment, and have you guys noticed any impact of the increase or decrease in the student population in recent years, and how the changes impacted the immediate long-term infrastructure planning efforts? I know you can't answer for staffing or students, but when we think of the facility itself, have you guys heard about, talked about in your discussions on this respective project any of the impacts?
Yes, as far as what Guam DOE, the former superintendent, had said, we are still looking at maintaining the population levels proposed in the initial design. Besides the population growth in the north, he had also had initial discussions with the Department of Defense to possibly educate some of their students within the public school system, especially with the expanding military growth. And so he, at that time, he had mentioned to the committee, to our group, that he wouldn't like to, he doesn't want to change the size of the school at this time.
Okay, so we are starting to have to do financing. So if any financing goes out, based on what we're reading in national media about some of the interest rates and the behavior up at the Treasury Department, is there a way that this project could save some money down the road, or you think this could still creep up a bit? I know that I asked you earlier about the hard number, but based on what we're seeing on the national front, especially with interest rates, could that have an impact on this project?
Yes, as you have seen in the last quarter, we have started to see the federal commission start bringing interest rates down. So just in the last quarter, we saw 25 basis points last month, December actually. They had brought it down by 25 basis points. our analysts also anticipate additional interest rates coming down. So again, that will help benefit the project costs and financing.
All right, thank you so much, Tina. Thank you, Henry, for your time today, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for the time. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Senator Gumataotao. Senator Matanani, you are recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is regarding the amendment that Mr. Taitano is asking to be included into Bill 235. I don't have any issues with Bill 235 in its current form, and I'm actually thankful that Senator Dueñas acknowledged, the deficiencies with what was in the Budget Act and acting swiftly to correct them. So I guess, Tina, since you are here as the current administrator of GITA, what is your reaction to the proposed amendments by Mr. Taitano regarding adding this new Section 3 to the bill?
So at this point, the request may impact discussions tied to the protest. So I don't have an issue with what's being proposed, but without looking at the amendment, I can't speak to it at this time. Or his proposal. I'd like to reserve judgment, just to make sure I'm not speaking anything tied to the protests.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Matanani. Senator Tadigui, you're recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hafaday, Henry, and of course, it's good to see you, Tina, as always. Thank you for being here to testify. Basically, this is administrative in nature. It doesn't cause any issue with the funding. However, your testimony is very straightforward, but what safeguards are in place to ensure that expenditures for pre-development stage duties remain in the scope as intended by the Public Law 38-60?
So again, a lot of what we speak to here, this funding, I guess the fiduciary duty between BB-MART and DOA representing the government of Guam will ensure that these that whatever is expensed for this project is strictly for the Simon Sanchez project.
Okay.
And so, between the government and even working with the trustee, all of that will ensure that we're in compliance with the law.
So who oversees those orders, that come in to say, okay, we're going to be doing a pre-stage thing, and rather than doing something that was not considered pre-stage? Who does oversee that? Is it DBW? Is it you, or?
You're correct. It is Department of Public Works.
Okay, so they do look at that and go over that. So what part does GITA play in all this?
So our role is tied to the financing and the legal documents that will encumber or secure the financings on behalf of the government.
Okay, so it would have been nice to have DPW here in front of us, right, to ask these questions on how are we going to ensure that what is being spent is for this intent, and how do they monitor it? So that may be something, Mr. Chair, we can ask DPW for any comments. Did we get any testimony from them?
No, we didn't get any testimony.
Okay, so that's something I'm really looking forward to, just so that we can see.
They were invited, though, to the public hearing.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully we can do a follow-up and get their testimony. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Senator Tadigui. If there'll be no further questions or comments from my colleagues, I would like to go ahead and conclude today's public hearing on Bill number 235-38 COR, and the committee will continue to accept written testimonies on the bill within 7 calendar days from today, which may be addressed to Senator Christopher M. Dueñas as chairman of the Committee on Finance and Government Operations, and mailed to 163 West Chalang Santo Papa, Hagåtña, Guam 96910. You may also email your testimonies to senator.dueñas@guamlegislature.gov. This afternoon's public hearing is now adjourned, and the time is now 3:20 p.m. I'd like to thank you all for your testimonies this afternoon. Have a wonderful day.